What's going on, everybody? It's Terry. I wanted to make a video today running down some options to freeform modeling. I know coming out of school, Revit can be kind of a limiter as to how you can design using a 3D software. It's always best practice to sketch and do your diagrams and things like that outside of a program where you're not limited by certain axes as you would in 3D, such as Revit and Rhino. But I wanted to show you some options that you have to kind of turning some abstract forms into something actually usable in Revit versus just boxes and whatever Revit gives you as kind of base commands. So I have a free project template open here. I've actually got a house I'm looking at right now that I want to try to replicate, not wall for wall, but kind of the same style. We'll get into what that actually looks like here shortly. So just go ahead and get your project open, and once you've got that, you want to go to File, you want to go to New, and you want to click on Conceptual Mass. And we've kind of talked about this before in the walls video. If you get this started here, you'll be able to essentially model whatever you have designed without being limited by just straight vertical and horizontal planes. So you get this open. Your base is going to start you with one level. If you've pretty much mapped out what your building is going to look like, you can go ahead and create your levels to show those where your roof planes are going to be, where your floors are going to be. That way you'll have some guidelines when you start to model. So I'm just going to go ahead and replicate some of these. Conceptual Mass is pretty good with modeling in 3D. Sometimes if you're in the base Revit program, you'll have some issues moving things using the 3D views. That can be the case in modeling, but modeling in Conceptual Mass, but it's pretty straightforward. If you have issues, just go to your elevation views and do it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and lay out some levels. The house I'm trying to replicate has a large first floor, and then the second floor is about half the height. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of lay those in like that. For the sake of showing you what you can do, I'm not going to begin modeling this house I want to replicate. Instead, I'm going to kind of show you some different tools that you can use to essentially create whatever form you want. So we'll go ahead and we'll go to the first floor level here, and we'll draw a circle. It's just kind of a random circle, no reason for the size, just getting it on the page. So then we'll go back to our 3D view, and then I want to add floor plans for my other level. So we'll click on floor plan here under View, and we'll just select those two and hit OK. Now over here you can see I've got my first, second, and third floors. So now my second level, we've got the circle on the first. On the second level, I want to draw, okay, let's say we want a square. Go ahead and do that. We'll move it to the center, and then we'll rotate it. Okay, and now on our third level, we'll draw another circle. And this is just to show you how you can take some of these two-dimensional forms and make them 3D. So if we go back to our 3D view, you can see what I've got here is each of those shapes on their different levels. So now it's time to combine them. You're ready to make your form a 3D mass. So what we're going to do is you'll hold your control button and you'll just select all your shapes. Next, you'll come up here to create form. You have options to create void forms. So let's say you want a big atrium down the middle. We can come back and add an atrium here that will hollow out the middle of this form. But for right now, we'll go ahead and click solid form, and you'll see now I've got this really odd shaped thing. This happens obviously because we're connecting a square with two circles. So this is to show you that really your options are endless. This is kind of an interesting looking shape. So we'll continue here, but you can literally do this with anything. If you wanted to create like a oval shaped building, you can create some profiles and then connect them that way. To kind of show you what I'll mean, so if we go to our east elevation, this doesn't particularly matter. We'll go ahead and kind of draw something here. Do like that. And I'll add a similar object, maybe a little bit wider, like that, and then we'll connect it. And if you're drawing and you forget to escape or something, and it creates a form or a 2D shape for you, you can just select, you tab through to select the line that you want, just click it and delete it. You'll see that the lines will then automatically join one another once you remove that additional piece. So we'll go down here and create that, and now you see I've got a shape here. So I'm going to click on that, make sure it's selected. Okay, and then you can see here it's just barely highlighted. There are some things work like this, some things don't, but if you select a shape or something in one view, you have the ability to go into another view while it's still selected. If not, just locate it where it is on the plan and you'll be good to go. So next I'm going to rotate this over here. So I want to rotate it on the center, so we'll hit place, come up here and select the plane that it's on, and then we'll click it, and then we'll click where we want it to be rotated to. So now if we go to the 3D view, that didn't seem to want to rotate. Let's go back, rotate, make sure copy is on, and we'll rotate this way this time just to make sure. Okay, now I can see I have them both there. We'll go back to our 3D. So now you can see those are there. So now I want to make this a form. Say I want like a screen outside of this building. I'll click these like that, and I'll create form. Now you can see that they're just going directly to the one form to another. They're not following a sweep or anything like that. You have the ability to do that. If you want it. If you want to control a little bit more, you can copy more of these shapes along this path, create a little bit more of a curved form. But just to kind of show you that you don't have to model just up and down in view, you can model profiles on the sides and take it that direction. So once you've got this done, all you need to do to get this into your project file to begin modeling windows and doors, you'll just make sure you can save it. That way you can come back and edit it, but if you're loading it into a project, it's going to save the form for you. So if you just come over here, load into project, say OK, and there we go. Now it's going to ask me to place my object. I'll just randomly place it there, escape, so I don't accidentally put another one down, and there we go. Now I have my form. So now we can use whatever Revit has that we need, a roof by face. I can come up here and pick that. Let's see, Revit's not wanting to cooperate right now. We'll do a wall. So I want to do a wall by face. We'll go ahead and pick that and hit OK. Now you can see I do have a wall right there. It's a very large shape, so the wall is going to not be as defined. So we have a wall right there right now. If I wanted to do a floor, I could come in here and do floor by face, and I can let's try that over again. Okay. I don't think I have my levels set up, but if you do have your levels set up already, if you follow my setup guide, another video I have, it'll show you how to go ahead and set your levels up. That way you're ready to model. But if you do have your levels set up, you're able to just come in here and pick the shape that you want for that floor. So because I set up my levels as 0, 20, and then 32, you want to match your project levels to show those same levels. That way you'll come in here and just pick what you want, and they'll be already defined as to where you want them to be. So just an overview, Revit comes with conceptual masses. That's one way to model without being confined to certain parameters in the base Revit model. So creating conceptual masses is definitely a huge bonus. It's one of the ways to not let Revit limit how you design and just end up with a bunch of boxes. There is another software I will show you made by Autodesk. It is called Formit. I believe there are some free versions of it. I currently don't have it, but it's essentially it's a comparison to SketchUp. It's Revit's version of SketchUp, so to say. SketchUp and Rhino were kind of competitors in this area. There was no real Autodesk program that would allow you to directly import into Revit. There were ways you could get Rhino models into Revit or SketchUp models into Revit, but this is kind of the next thing for Autodesk to allow people to just form masses, without being defined by certain parameters, and then you can just take this form right here and load it into Revit. A really great thing about this program is it maintains faces just like a conceptual mass, but you can kind of define things a little bit more. You can assign materials, things like this, and it's its own model. So you'll be able to link it into Revit, turn it on, turn it off as you please while you're modeling over top of it. It's pretty similar to conceptual modeling in Revit, but this just has a little bit more freedoms, and again allows you to have two separate models linked together. If you're looking for a guide as to how to link models, I'll make a video explaining that later on. But yeah, if you're looking for something similar to SketchUp or Rhino without having to pay those prices, Formit's definitely a great option. And if you're a student, then you should be able to get pretty much anything from Autodesk for free as long as you have your school email. So that is our tutorial on modeling. It's definitely something you should practice and use a lot. So if you have any questions, let me know. I appreciate any kind of feedback. So we'll move on, and we'll start talking about some different elements